lose for you. Yes, I do. I'm like your angel of love, girl. I've come to see you through. So when you cry, let me wipe your tears. When you're scared, I wanna be there to calm your fears. When you're in need, baby, ring my phone. I'll run right over and we'll make love all night long.
Yo, yo, yo.
What's going on?
Good people, good people. Ooh, that's a nice red shirt there. Passer? He looked at me like, is he talking about me? Kevin Whitaker, I'm talking about you. Can you hear me? Kevin looked like he can't see or hear us.
Uh-oh.
Sounds
Kevin.
like it sounds animated. I don't know what that is.
Were you good in the green room? You were good in the green room?
Yeah.
What is with the technical
Am I the only
difficulties?
someone that's experiencing that right now?
I think
would be
so.
you. And Glenn, I think you
Whoa.
jinxed me with the camera. I just thought about it. Since you
Why?
got a whole
Because I got a new camera.
Yeah, you got a whole new setup, and then my stuff stopped working, and now the right reverend stuff ain't working. Robert's caught in a snowstorm, and Neil is recuperating. So this is going to be. And Kevin is panicking. Look,
So I did it to everybody.
you did. That's my story. I'm gonna. Kevin trying to figure it out, boy. Roger, I would say pull Kevin out and then pull him back in and see if resetting him because he was just good. So pull him out and see what see what that looks like. How you? Maybe it's just the two of us, man. We gon'
A two-man show.
we can
Finally.
do it. We can do it. I got enough stuff to talk about that we can get it done. How was your week, man? How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. It was a long week. I literally just got off a plane, so I know what Robert's going through. I think he probably got delayed because of the snow in Chicago. I have been in 4 cities in 7 days, but I got to shout out Peyton Rose and my friend Terrence Williams in Denver. I had a ball there Sunday, hanging out with them. It was just good to catch up, talk to them, and just fellowship with them. It was wonderful.
Yeah.
I didn't appreciate the snow in Denver. That was mad disrespectful. But
right. TJ saw that big bottle of rum. I'm out of bourbon. Well, I'm out of bourbon that I'm willing to drink. And TJ saw this big. This is one of those Costco bottles of rum. TJ saw. Kev, can you hear us now?
Yeah, man.
Hallelujah!
All right, he back.
The right reverend is in his rightful place.
Yes. No, the right.
Evening.
First, can we say congratulations on your title of bishop? I was there, and it was an amazing ceremony.
So what that was is I was already a bishop.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, I've been a bishop since 2017. But that was to make me a presiding bishop over a group of churches.
Okay.
You and for those who aren't churchgoers, the bishop is the pastor to the pastors. So now he is the pastor to an even greater collective of pastors is the way I'm interpreting that. So,
yes, sir. You are interpreting correctly.
Yeah, okay. I got a little history.
I see you've been to church.
I was considered a church boy until a couple of years ago, and we'll take that offline.
Okay.
I was in church. I grew up in church. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, but I was a bit more active. I was very active in music ministries. I taught Sunday school at one point. Yeah.
Believe it or not, I've actually done that too. Believe it or not, I know nobody probably believes it now.
No, I do not believe that about you, Glenn, because I thought you was going to hell the day I met you. So no, I'm just.
See,
I'm
y'all,
just acting.
when I say my strong Christian upbringing, I mean my strong Christian upbringing. Y'all don't believe me. See,
I'm just
Right.
I'm just acting. Well,
I
the
might have
church
done
was
a
trying.
little.
Hey, look, the
I
church
got a
was
little
trying to
prodigal
bring
son
you
acting
up,
right
but
now, but
hey, the church was trying to bring him up. Kevin, he said his upbringing. The church was trying to bring him up, but he wouldn't act right. You know, he wouldn't act right. Kevin, say something. I want to make sure we didn't lose you again.
Check one, two,
Okay, I
three.
got you. All right, all
All
right.
right.
Hey,
all
you
right,
know
we
what?
got you.
I did not actually. It's funny because we've been massaging a topic, or I've been massaging the thought of a topic for about 3 weeks that we have never gotten to, and I think it's poignant on tonight that Kevin is here because I think he is probably the best equipped to field this question. I'm not going to hit you with it just yet, but
Sure.
I just thought about it, and I'm glad that you are in the number. So you got me using all my church adages tonight. You know, I'm glad
Next,
that
you're gonna
you're in
break
the
out with a
number.
hymn.
I'm,
Glad to
I'm,
be in the
I'm,
service.
I'm more than capable, Doc. You know, I'm more than I've had some good days. Don't look, I'm more than capable now.
You sound good, Doc.
You know, well, you know, I done run it a couple of times, Kev. I can't lie. So listen, man, we got a couple of things I want to talk about.
Sure.
And let's do the low hanging fruit first.
Okay.
And the low hanging fruit being Juicy Smouye. And the recent developments in the Juicy Smouye trial.
Okay.
He was sentenced today for 100 to 150 days in prison.
Okay.
An additional 30 months probation. And the actual charge was staging a hate crime, not committing a hate crime, but staging a hate crime. The judge called him profoundly arrogant, narcissistic, and selfish.
Yeah.
And so
Sounds about right. But anyway,
pretty accurate. And so on his on his way out, he had some outbursts, you know, in terms of saying that he respected the judge's decision, how he was not guilty, and that if something happened to him in prison, know that he was not suicidal. He did not do it to himself. And you know, I'll take any heat for saying what I'm getting ready to say. But
well, I'm gonna take heat with you. Go ahead.
right,
Yeah, we all be taking heat tonight.
yeah, I think he's delusional, man. Like nobody is waiting on him to get in prison so they can hurt him. Like if anything, they in there tickled. You know,
Exactly.
like pedophiles get hurt. You know, if
Exactly.
you got short eyes, you know you get hurt. They
Exactly.
probably in there. All the budding comedians are in there working on their stand up.
Right.
You know,
Well,
behind him, and so
it was
even
a clown show.
And even to the last minute, Kev, when he was making his last little, you know, play, man, he just looked like somebody who wasn't really all there. You know, and
Yeah.
what do you guys think about that, man? That whole thing. What he said was that he he said something like he punched a fist into the, you know, the scar of racism that exists in America, and you know, and I'm like, well, you know, America didn't need you to do that. We very clear.
We've been punching at that for years.
For years, so
We really didn't need your little fist coming up there
Yeah,
like
you didn't open no wound that, you know, wasn't already there. You know, so what you think? What you think, Kev? What you
Well,
think
I
is at the
mean,
core of
man,
it, man?
first of all, I think it's sad that he would be that narcissistic in his behavior, and to ride that lie to the end is embarrassing. Okay,
Yeah.
you know, we deal with enough in our country. You know, while I'm a straight man, people have a right to do what they choose. And it's unfortunate that there are people who go through that in real life,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That now he's put them in a predicament where they may not even be believed now. if something were to happen to them, just because of the magnitude of what he did in his name and the fame that came along with that. I think it put people in danger. I really do.
Well, he bastardized the reality of that experience. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? He
Yeah.
bastardized the reality of
Yeah.
that experience, and so he made it a cry wolf thing now.
Exactly.
Now that gives the other side, let's put it like that,
Sure.
that gives the other side the reason to cast doubt on every aspersion we make.
Certainly.
And the problem that he doesn't understand is that we already can't get validated. We already can't get validated,
Sure.
and now you making up shit. You know
Yeah,
what
I
I'm
mean, it just
saying?
don't make sense.
And you really like and you said it in a way, Kev, that I hadn't really thought about. He did some damage.
Yeah,
That
that
did
is
some
damaging,
damage.
man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that did some damage, man, because
And it's dangerous.
it gave those people that would do that more fuel and ammunition to do that, and we not be believed. Because
Absolutely.
they can always cite him and say, "Oh, they making it up," just like Juicy did.
They're doing a juicy. Now it's gonna be called you doing a juicy Smollett because
Absolutely.
you're trying to pull one over on me. Yeah.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Yeah. Had you
And
heard
there are
anything
people
about
who are
it,
really
Glenn, that
hurting
wasn't?
and suffering,
Yeah.
from these real life situations that he's made a mockery of. And I think he just put some people in danger, man.
Hey,
I
Yeah.
really
Kev,
do.
it's very similar to, um, the way we've seen white women allege things have happened to them at the hands of black folks that didn't happen, and then the police arrive and they automatically assume that she's telling the truth. It's all in that same bucket
Yeah.
of fantasy
Or
that
or
the
you look at
horror
what
of
happened.
racism gives birth to.
Right. You look at what happened at the nightclub in Orlando, and whatever you feel about people, those were lives that were lost at the hand of a
Yeah,
gunman.
it has nothing to
That
do
was
with
a
their
hate
Absolutely.
lifestyle
crime.
choices.
Yeah, that's a hate crime.
No one deserves to be gunned down,
Right.
regardless of their lifestyle or anything. That's inhumane.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. Yeah. And
Yeah.
so I think when people do that, they don't. That's why I have a problem. Even as a black man, I have a problem calling the police on black men
I get that.
because I understand where that thing can go, and it can go to a level that it did not deserve, simply because of the variables that are a part of the whole dynamic. And so anytime I have to actually call the policeman on somebody that looks like me, you can know, man, that I genuflected and prayed and did all I could to,
Right.
ask the
It's
Lord to
the
make.
it's the last result.
Yeah, it's the last resort, and please don't let it be more than it's supposed to be.
Sure.
In that whole thing, man. So, time will tell, man, what will come of it. And the way the world is set up, man, he probably gonna make $1 million off of a book when it's done with, because
Sure he will.
Oh yeah, of
polarized
course.
stories are so sellable. But I thought it was interesting, man, that it
I
played
think
out
it would
today.
take just in my opinion, though, I think it's going to take a long time for him to resurrect his acting career. I don't think
Yeah.
that no real studio is going to be willing to put themselves at risk dealing with him because let's just call a spade a spade. He's a liar.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah. I was talking to a friend of mine, this evening about it, and I told him that I wouldn't be surprised if his career wasn't done with.
Yeah, I don't think he can write books, of course,
And
and
he can do
cause
indie
of
films. He'll get some indie roles or something.
He can be in a documentary.
Yeah.
about Juicy Smollett.
About Juicy Smollett. but
I know Dave Chappelle's warming up for his next stand-up, I'm sure.
Oh,
I can't
I
wait.
can't wait to see it myself.
Can't wait.
that remains one of the most classic comic bits ever. The Juicy Smollett.
Hands down.
There are people now don't know that boy real name because they call him
Man,
Juicy Smollett.
listen. First of all, Dave Chappelle is a comedic genius. I don't know what
Oh
people
my
are talking
God.
about.
Yeah.
That dude, man,
Brilliant.
he's on a different wavelength, man. He's not normal, man.
Yeah, he's they ask you if there's somebody that you would spend an hour with. He's on the list of somebody that I would love to just talk to for an hour.
because
You
it's
know.
beyond comedy with him. His
Yeah.
his just overall process of thinking and putting things out there is just
Yeah.
is phenomenal. I think he's a brilliant man
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
outside of comedy.
Yeah.
He and DL as well, and I think
DL
the
is my favorite. He the
yeah,
GOAT.
man. And what I find is that some people, man, aren't just like you look at the world of music, and some people like house music, some people like ballads, some people like gospel, but you can like everything. It's
Yeah.
okay to like everything, right? I mean, I
I
got
do.
a country music Spotify list that'll rock your world, baby. It's about 6 hours
I just
long.
I'm like the OJs, man. I like music,
I,
any kind.
I
man,
love
period.
music.
But I have found, man, that people that can't enjoy mindless humor don't like the Kevin Harts or those people. Like, I don't think comedy has to be life changing. It can be,
Sure.
and you can appreciate it when it is on that level, when it's a DL or when it's a Dave Chappelle. But all comedy doesn't have to be like that. There's a space for Kevin Hart. There's a space for Bruce
Sure.
Brooks, Lavelle
Yeah.
Crawford. These guys that they're not trying to send you home with anything to think about, or they're not using their comedy as a like a painting a picture of the state of the world. Because
Right.
these guys use political commentary. They
Yeah.
take the most tragic stuff in the world and make it funny. And that's just not what Kevin does. You know what I'm saying?
Nah,
I mean,
he's
yeah,
not gifted
That's
in
not
that.
his style.
Yeah. Hey,
But that's
man,
okay.
two things real quick. Now that we've made Robert pretend think his camera wasn't on, that was me on purpose. Like, can they see me? What's up, brother? You made
Happy
it.
Thursday to you as well.
You made. Don't curse me out. We got the pastor. Yeah, don't.
I know,
curse me
right?
out.
And I heard his pastor voice too, so I was like, you know what? Let me clean things up tonight.
Yeah. Well, he gonna have to forgive me because I've already been cursing, so he gonna have to forgive me. I told him I used to be a church boy. Hey man, we glad you made it. Hopefully the roads weren't too bad, and everything worked out for you. You're no less handsome a few minutes late than you are on time. So we appreciate you being with us. If you're watching, we ask that you take this time, copy the URL and paste it into your social media. Don't share it, but actually copy the URL and paste it into your social media. Robert, we were wrapping up on Juicy Smouye and his sentencing of 150 days in the big house with 30 months of probation. Kevin raised some powerful points about it that I had not considered. Was there anything about it, man, that you wanted to share? Or?
No, I've been traveling.
I figured you were on the
saw it.
plane and you didn't even know,
Yeah.
he was.
I did see something when it happened, but that was really about it.
Yeah. Riding in first class with all the liquor and open bar and stuff, it is hard to grasp the news, Rob. I understand. I'm not a first class type of guy myself like you are. I'm just
Well,
a Southern boy.
I was
wouldn't
looking for
know
you in the
nothing about
airport as
first
well
class.
because I thought that you were going to be joining me.
I
in the
was
airport.
supposed to be in Miami, but it's just something about I have to go wherever it snows. Like I went to
I
Denver.
ran
and
into
it
some
snowed. I come
Chicago
back
folks
in.
in the airport. Yeah.
Did you?
Hey, Kevin, usually Robert tight like that glove OJ had on by this time of the night, but the way his evening was set up, he didn't get a chance to.
He didn't get a chance.
So he probably gonna hit it hard for the next 45 while we in here. He
got the whole weekend. He's got the whole weekend in Miami. I'm gonna be in Austin, Rob. I would be there, but I got to go to Austin Sunday.
Oh, that's where he is. He's in Miami. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I hope you brought bail money just being proactive.
And I got to get out of this hot outfit.
That's why he was hoping I would come, so he needs somebody to bail him out.
Hey
That's what I was
man,
gonna do.
Can't
real
get the
quick,
streets alone.
Keisha was like, "Go down there and chaperone Rob. We need y'all ready for April 2nd. I don't need y'all in trouble. Get your stuff together. You responsible."
Hey man, speaking of April 2nd, anybody that is planning on coming down and joining us, you can find the event on Eventbrite. If you can't find the event on Eventbrite, reach out to anybody that's on the show. We'll get back to you. There you go, and get you the information that we can. I talked to somebody today that's planning on coming down. I do know that you're going to fly into Richmond, Virginia for the event. It is on Eventbrite, so details are there. Ticket prices are there. So make sure you do that. Let's also take a minute to shout out Big Mel. We thought we'd have Mel back. If you watched last week, you know Mel got rear-ended, and he suffered a concussion. He's doing fine, but he has the after effects of the concussion, and so he's still having some challenges looking into lit screens and computer screens and things like that for extended amounts of time. And so he's being smart and putting his health first, just like we would want him to do. So we love you, good brother. We can't wait to have you back, but we would rather have you where you're supposed to be and getting better than to have you here. Who's coming to Richmond? That's where we fly into.
No, I was asking who's coming to Richmond.
No, we just want to know what fans are coming.
Yeah.
Well, this was a friend of mine that I don't want to.
So we can prepare.
Coming, and she ended up not coming,
Rob's got a little show for y'all women. So, ladies, I want you to come to Richmond. I want you to bring that money that folds.
Not the kind that make noise.
Not the kind that jingles.
Yeah, I've had a few.
Sean's going to be doing something there.
I'm stripping.
No, you're singing. You're not stripping.
No, right.
Hey, it's the Little Love Handles show.
Wrong
That's
show.
The wrong show. Wrong
That's
show.
the wrong show.
Hey, if you don't find that out until you get there, you stuck regardless. So you better go on, put some oil on these little love handles and make the best of it.
And just call them handlebars and grip them.
Hey man, hey, it's 9:23. Time is moving quickly, man. We have to talk about Ryan Coogler. Have to talk about Ryan Coogler. I'm still processing that whole thing. I watched some more video on it today. And for those of you who don't know, Ryan Coogler, who is the famed director of Black Panther, did he write it also, Glenn? Did he just direct? I think he just maybe produced and directed. But he was in an Atlanta Bank of America. And he went to withdraw money out of his personal account. Now, because, of course, he's incredibly rich, he's hypersensitive to going into the bank and pulling out large sums of money.
Sure.
And so what he typically does is writes the instructions on the back of a bank ticket, bank checkout ticket or whatever, deposit slip, and hands it to the cashier. I'm being told that he's a writer for the Black Panther franchise. But however, so he goes in, does what he normally does, and the next thing you know, he has officers around him with their guns drawn. And they take him to the back, and of course they start trying to sort things out. Well, as it turns out, because of him trying to be careful taking large sums of money out, he usually doesn't speak it so that other people in earshot can hear it. He writes his instructions down, gives them his account number, tells them, please don't count it here at the front, count it in the back. I'd like to be discreet. For whatever reason, the bank teller, who was a sister, decided that this was a bank robbery. She decided that there was something fishy about it. And there's some imagery of him speaking with her manager, but apparently she must have alerted the police before she alerted her manager, because the manager claims that things were already rolling by the time she found out about it. She was supposedly a little off of her game because she's pregnant, dealing with the hormonal, which I think was really just an excuse, but they said she was pregnant, on edge, yada, yada, yada. At any rate, man, they pulled this dude out for trying to get money out of his own account, handcuffed him, had him sitting outside. Finally, he was having an anxiety attack. He asked him to remove his mask because he was having an anxiety attack. And then they showed later, him talking to the manager, who was extremely apologetic. But at that point, I don't know what your apology is going to do. But I just thought, man, that is such a tragic thing, man. Like now it's our own people, he's doing something that somebody of another hue would do in trying to be safe, who might not be considered a threat. It would be understandable, okay, but he gave them all of his information. She said it was a California ID, so that made her suspicious. It was just a lot of stuff, man. I don't know how familiar you guys are with this story, but I'd love to hear what you think about it. Kev, what do you think about it?
Well, first of all, that's traumatizing to go into a place of business that you would normally go into, whether it's in California or anywhere. I'm certain that he had his ID. No one can, no one will go to the bank in their right mind and just, say, give me $12,000. So,
A black man
yeah, come on,
in a
man.
bank with people standing around with guns,
Come on,
and he
man.
don't have a
He's
gun out.
he's not going in there like that. So I'm sure he had proper ID, but when they said that, he was having an anxiety attack, man, my heart broke because I could only imagine that he reflected on all of the lives that he has seen on the news over the last several years of black men and women being murdered at the hands of police, and truthfully wondering, was this the end for him? Because it could very well end that way. We've seen that time and time again. And so my heart went out to him, because I'm certain that he's been traumatized.
Absolutely. And before I hear from Robert, I want to say, he refused to. He asked. He said, "I'm going to need you to get. I'm going to need to get your names and that kind of stuff. There anything we can do for you? So I just need your names." They were like, "Well, you can go in your vehicle and get something to write with." He said, "I'm not doing anything with my hands.
Exactly.
I'm not reaching for anything. I'm not looking for anything. I'm not. You all can hand me things. I'm not doing that." You know what I'm saying? And I just wish, man, that what we go through could be taken seriously.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? And I hate for being this bold about it, but I really feel like, man, this is a problem. Nobody wants to say it, but until the people that aren't affected by it think it's as significant as those who are being affected by it and act on that, it's not going to go away, because the people that are victims of it have been pleading for years, pleading since I was a
Absolutely.
little bitty boy. So it's going to take the voices of those people who aren't being affected by it, but finally look at it and find it disgusting and outrageous and exhausting and inhumane, and decide they don't want to see it anymore, even though it does not affect them. And that is the tragedy of it, is that it continues to exist on the level it does, because people that aren't affected by it won't speak up, won't make moves, won't go to
Exactly.
bat for those that are suffering with it. Robert, what do you have for it, man? Anything that you want to share about it?
Well, I was driving when you sent us that that video, but I think that one of the things that is, as you said, Kevin, it is traumatizing for any of us. And he said in the video that when he heard the guns, clocking and things like that, it's it's those things. Having worked in banking and actually worked for Bank of America for a number of years, there are some protocols that need to be handled, and so I don't know that we can. I think we need more information to be able to make an assessment. But for the average person, yes, we are. That's an unfortunate situation, and it makes us look feel different and act different. But whenever you're drawing out cash of that level, there are some things that have to be put in place and things like that. I'm not going to unpack the video, but just say that we do need to put some appropriate measures in place, particularly when the police are called.
Now he did say, before you jump in here, Glenn, he did say this is something that he had done repeatedly. So it wasn't like this was the first time he had been in that bank
Exactly.
and that he had going about getting his money that way. So maybe she had not been exposed to it, but he said he had done it that way before. It seems reasonable to me because in actuality, the only thing he didn't do was speak his directions. He wrote down his account number. He presented his ID. He asked for the amount. If he'd have been unable to speak, if he'd have been a mute of some sort, that's what he would have had to do.
Exactly.
So, how was that different? Glenn, what you got for me, man?
Mute. Sorry, I was on mute. One of the things, and it is scary. I actually just went in a bank in Atlanta, a Bank of America.
Hey, look, I'm not making no withdrawals that's gonna get that kind of attention.
Yeah, I wasn't there to withdraw $10,000. I wasn't happy with them. There's something else they had done, but
Give
it
me
wasn't.
till next year, maybe I'll be doing that. But yeah, this year I'm not doing it.
But to your point, Bank of America is a national bank. So if I walk in with my Illinois ID in California, I've got an account number, I've got ID, I've got my debit card, and I got my PIN number. So there's verification that they go through to make sure of who you are. Put your PIN number in, put your card in, type out your PIN number, give me your ID, issue. Let me check your account, make sure you got the money, issue. There shouldn't have been that level. To Robert's point, there may have been some protocol because of the note that he wrote. I guess he wrote a note. But I have an issue with, you can't make an excuse. He's pregnant and on edge. I'm sorry.
I don't.
Flimsy excuse for her calling the police and him being surrounded and detained by the cops for this. Your manager should have been called. That was your next level.
That's your next move,
protocol.
Because he wrote a note, but he didn't say this is a stick-up. You know what I'm saying? He wrote a note saying I'd like to get this money out of my account. ...
Right,
and ID.
Right, and over $10,000, you have to file a report.
Vet Dud, who's watching, mentioned their protocols for over 10 grand, and I get that, but you can't tell me nobody comes in there and doesn't get 10 grand out.
But I'm figuring he probably had $500,000 in his account. So you think
the balance?
If they would have just checked, right?
Yeah, they would just check the balance.
They would have seen that he had the money.
And I'm being nice. I'm being nice by going. What black person don't know who the hell Ryan Cool is? I'm not even going there because I know you read names. You read names and you don't process them. I get.
I have proven my identity. You call the police on me
because you put in your PIN number.
Robbing you from my own account. Let's talk about the logic here. Let's just think about this sensibly. As intelligent people, I'm coming in to rob the bank, but I'm just going to take the money out of my own account.
I hate to say it, man, and
you make that sound so.
Let's think about
simple,
that.
Right?
Wait a minute, this ain't right. He's robbing himself.
I hate to say it. Man, because everybody says I'm hypersensitive when it comes to the race thing, but man, the problem was a young black dude pulling out 13 grand out the bank. That's all.
Out of his own account.
Out of his own. And so if you tell me that wasn't a variable that became significant for that young lady who was also black, I'm not gonna believe you because there is a component of our own racism that exists within us.
Oh yeah.
So
definitely.
Had been a white dude walked in there and done the same thing, she'd have put a lot more promise behind his actions.
I went to the North Shore to a fundraising event because a friend of mine who's Italian owns an Italian restaurant, and I was the only black dude there. And I'm not the one to pull the race card, but the other black dude that was there in charge of there was an auction. I'm looking around. He passes by everybody else to walk up to me and go, "You live around here?" And I looked at him like, "I'm here for my friend who owns the thing. What's your next question?" Right. I ain't gonna say what else I said. I called him, but other than that, I was offended because you passed by everybody else.
We got the pastor with us. Don't.
Yeah. But no, you passed by everybody else.
Express yourself. Be strong.
I've been in the priority line at Delta. This happened recently in Atlanta. We were going to the priority line, and this African American dude who works there literally ran over to us to let us know this was priority. y'all know this is priority, right? And we looked at him like, that's
We
why
just
we're
don't
going to
let
this
y'all
line.
go priority.
Yeah, like you don't want the master to know you stepping in the wrong line. You need to go over to the commoner line.
You should be
This ain't
busting up the
line.
shiffer out back. What you
Yeah.
doing? You gonna get us all killed.
You gonna get us in trouble. You just
I
put
just
your
trying
head,
to keep my job, sir.
yeah, put your head down and you walk over to that regular line. Don't look up. Don't look down. I didn't. And before you know it, it comes out the wrong way when you look at him, and I had that look on my face, I'm sure. And Keisha remember too, we were both looking at him like, just stopped us from going to the line.
Rod said, we thought Rod put you out. He said, yeah, man, it's tough on us, man. It's already 9:37, man. I knew what we had to talk about the time with Fly. Hey, man, who saw the video of the brother who said high-earning women are less attractive?
Well, heck, that video went viral. Everybody saw it.
Well, these two brothers haven't seen it. Look,
I haven't
seen it.
Y'all haven't seen it?
I haven't seen it.
So there's a video, man, where brothers saying that,
IG, by the way.
successful women now, they decide they have the six-figure job, they have the big home, they have the career, and now the only thing that's missing is a man. And this brother professed, what man wants you now?
Huh? I'm sorry.
No. That's the appropriate. That's the appropriate response.
That's foolishness. But
That's really stupid. Yeah.
And I just want to tell you, if you are a man watching this show, and you thought that video was pertinent, then we're gonna join virtual hands
And pray for you.
and hum kumbaya.
we might need to fast too.
We might need to fast, and we're gonna let the right reverend say a special prayer.
Yes.
Over you.
Need some oil. You need to be anointed from that one. You need some oil, dab some oil on them or something. Whatever works.
They need some oil from down at the African store. They need some oil from the dude standing on 55th Street with the bag of oil across his shoulder. They need all kind of oil.
Matter of fact, take some African soap, wash your ears out, because whoever been feeding you that line has messed your hearing up.
What I found fascinating, man, is that you are a man who is now saying the only benefit that you have in a woman's life is money.
Wow.
And financing things. Which we talk about on this show as one of the worst things that you can think your only benefit is. So what it speaks to is that man's inability to recognize what else there is as a man you can offer because he doesn't possess those things, right? So what is she gonna do when she needs to be held? When she needs somebody to support her dreams? When she, there are a million things that a man can provide a woman who already has money. Now, granted, there are women that don't realize that, right? But
sure.
the reality is, we as men, especially those of us who don't have $1 million, we understand the other things. That's why the woman that wants the man with money is distasteful for us, because we understand how many other things there are that we can provide and we can offer. And so when you define me by money, you're stripping me of all the things that I could be in your world. But then to have a man out there professing that foolishness was just amazing to me. And I had hoped that you guys had seen it. And the only reason I didn't send it to you was because all of the versions of it that I saw were people making commentary on it, and it made them 10, 12 minutes long. But the video snippet itself, and there are a lot of women chiming in as we talk about it that saw it. And saw how ridiculous it was. And some of the guys are encouraging, oh, you gonna make them mad with that? Like, no, you're not, dude.
No,
you're revealing that you are a numbskull is what you're doing.
Yeah. Low self-esteem in men is an ugly thing.
Yeah,
it's the worst.
It is.
And it
Nothing like a
almost
meal, though, so.
it proves, man, like the whole Ryan Coogler thing, that sometimes, man, we're the enemy. We target other people and blame them for their disdain of us. You know what I'm saying? But in actuality, man, there are often as many enemies in your own crib that you don't really know about or you're not willing to own. This is a black man making this statement. And I'm going, dude, you need to be re-educated in a huge, huge way.
Well, I think that people today equate their power with money. And it may be, if they've come from not having money, I could see where that would be applicable because they feel like, good times, the Jeffersons, we've made it. And there's a struggle there because what we're failing to realize, this echo is killing me, is that
We don't hear it.
you don't.
I hear it. I
Oh,
do.
I don't. Yeah, I don't.
Oh, okay. Is that as easy as it may not have come easy for you to get that money, but it could be easy for you to lose that money. And I know a number of people who were financially successful at one point because they were in the stock market and a number of other things, stuck their chest out and things like that. But as you know, stock market changes, things happen, and you lose it. And then what are you standing for? So, I'm not going to preach today because we already got the pastor here, but, we need to build, in the storehouse.
You couldn't do as good a job anyway, Robert, but
But that's the thing. And so to your point, Sean, sometimes women equate comfort to power and to the things that we can do for them from a financial perspective. And as you've already said, we can do many more things because that money won't keep you warm at night. And so there are other things that we can do to make up for the lack of money.
Here's what I find most fascinating, though. You can find the woman that thinks the man with money is all she wants until she gets him. And then she realizes that money does not cover a whole bunch of other stuff that you really need, especially if you're a woman that has some money. And so you'll give up all of that money that he has in his account for him to bring his ass home at night when he's supposed to, or for him to be the father that he's supposed to the children, or for him to just care about what's going on in the household. And so, I've made some harsh statements before about not believing that the woman who defines the man by the money he makes deserves the man with the good heart. I don't back off of that. Like if that's how you define men and that's what you want to pursue that. But if that's your priority, then I don't think you deserve the man that'll push you around in a wheelchair if you have a car accident and lose your legs. I don't think you deserve that dude because that's not what you thought was important. You can go on dating profiles, man, all through dating sites, and you very rarely, man, see a list of things that are intangible. It's always he has to have a house, he has to have his own vehicle, he has to make his own money. You very rarely hear somebody say he's got to be a good person, he's got to have a good heart, he's got to treat his mama right, he's got to. We've lost our way when it comes to that, and don't get me wrong, I'm sure that men suffer the same things. We look for things. I call it shopping from the outside in instead of the inside out, and that doesn't discount that appeal and attractiveness are vital things that we deserve. You know what I'm saying? But I think we can't. You can't define somebody by those components. They're just too much that humans have. To offer.
Well, I think that the point is even in the wedding vows, for better or for worse, richer or poor.
I hate to say it, man. I think a whole lot of people say that they don't mean it. They gonna
they
for better or
don't
worse. But let's hope we don't have to test that.
We don't have to test the worst.
Yeah,
And,
because
you know,
I've
unfortunately,
seen some
when
people
that-
bail, man, when worse wasn't even that bad, Robert.
when worse, well, I know too. I've seen it too.
I have too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
I mean,
Unfortunately.
we've literally sat with couples to counsel them, and we listened to the issue, and my wife and I would look at each other and be like, "So what's the problem? Like, this is just normal life. You know, y'all not going through nothing. Like,
Right.
there's no
This is
need to
the ebb
split
and
up.
flow of life.
Yeah, this
But
is
there's
just normal
selfishness,
life.
Kevin. Isn't there
Sure.
selfishness that comes into that?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, that's
Absolutely.
one or both are being selfish.
Yeah,
And
and a lot of
that
times it's
creates a
both.
problem.
Yeah, we had a couple that they were both entrepreneurs, had incredible things going on, but they were chasing the bag, and so their relationship was falling apart. You know, so money
Yeah.
apparently was not the solution to their happiness. They were miserable with one another because they didn't take the time to build the relationship.
Yep.
You know, you working 20 hours a day and she working 18 hours a day, and y'all just chasing bags, and y'all have a beautiful home and y'all have fancy cars, but y'all don't have anything that's intangible.
Yeah, they need to be chasing each other around the house. And once they
Exactly.
catch them, baby, I got you. Bam!
Be more
Exactly.
That's
specific,
really-
Robert. Once they catch them, what? You
know
can
what I'm
pretend
saying.
the past
Pop
ain't
that
here. Go
booty.
ahead. What
Pop
you-
that booty. Pastor Noah, you chasing your wife around the kitchen.
Absolutely.
Once you
You
catch
better
her,
believe it.
that's the thing, man. That's what we do. That's what
Man, I got a lot of
relationships are
children.
made of. Yeah, see, there you go. There you go. That proves the point.
Hey man, Mel chimed in, man, as he joins us from his viewership, and he mentioned that he's learned a lot about his support network. Even with this, and these are the times, man, that kind of show you who you have with you, man, and who's rocking with you.
Sure.
So, shout out to him for getting some good out of that, because a lot of people, this is where they find out who they're rocking with is not who they thought they were.
Absolutely.
Yeah, most of us have been. I've been in some situations where the people that I thought I had a right to count on chose not to be present for me, and I will admit that it changed the way I defined that whole thing.
Sure.
I now no longer think I have the right to expect anybody to be there for me. Nobody.
Well,
I don't care. I don't care if our last name is the same. I don't care if we got married in the church. That's just what it has taught me. Now, if you happen to be there and be present for me, I'm humbled and I'm grateful. But there's a part of me that won't be surprised if you don't, because I've been in too many situations where I made the mistake of thinking a relationship also meant that in my time of crisis I could count on you to have my back, and I learned the hard way that that's not always the way it plays.
Yeah, that's actually the breaking point. That's actually the determinant. And sometimes, and I'm a big believer in signs, sometimes when you hit your lowest point, whoever you're with shows who they really are.
Yeah.
And
no question about it.
That's a good
yeah,
point.
and
Glenn.
it gives you your light to either walk or stay. Sometimes,
Yeah.
that's the sign.
And be
Well, I
honest
wish I
with
had known
yourself
that.
with what you see.
Yeah, and be honest with yourself with what you see. Don't make an excuse for, oh, it's just happening because I'm going through a bad. You blame yourself for your own situation for how they behave, how they respond.
And and I think as men, that's probably some things that we overlook, or at least I overlooked. Because we want to forgive and forget because we're imperfect, and things like that. So sometimes, as you said, Glenn and Sean, as well, if the handwriting is on the wall, if you in the hospital bedroom by yourself and you got a wife or a fiance, I'm triggered, is not there, that just tells you don't go through with it. So yeah, that's some good points.
Yeah, because what happens, Robert, is if you push that under the rug, and then 2-3 years later you find yourself in an even more dire situation, you're gonna remember the fact that you were given a red flag.
You become bitter.
That you chose to ignore, and then that can have an adverse effect. You'll end up being more critical of yourself, and then you have to try to forgive yourself for letting that ride when it was presented to you.
But what I'm doing. But yeah, I agree.
Yeah, no, and I've been there too. I'm mad at myself because I spent so much time. I felt stupid.
Yeah,
Like,
I
Man,
still
we
feel
got
stupid.
I'm
we got
smarter than
about we got about 6 minutes, five or 6 minutes. I'm gonna give you one quick thing to circle around, and then I'm gonna pose a question to the right Reverend, the good pastor, and I'm gonna let him be the one to field this question that we've been massaging for the last couple of weeks. I saw somewhere where it says calling people toxic is toxic. Now, I want to share with you what I think about that. I think that supports the notion that the internet and social media has created a climate where nobody is accountable for their own dysfunction. If I call you toxic, you probably toxic. Now, there's a chance that I could be wrong, but you could be toxic. So, for you to decide that me calling you toxic is toxic, to me, that's a deflection of self accountability. If I caught you cheating and I said you was a cheater, that's more tangible. You can't really give me any pushback, right? But if you say somebody is toxic, that's very broad. Like the production team says, maybe toxic for you, but you may be toxic in the way you're experiencing it, right? So I really find it damaging, like you mentioned earlier, Kevin. It's damaging for people to put those kinds of thoughts out, because we are losing the ability to be accountable for our actions, because it's so easy for us to take our actions and have somebody elevate them, no matter how skewed the perspective is, because of the way social media works. Kevin, let me hear from you.
Well, I mean, first thing I would say is that we're in a soft world.
Ooh,
And a lot of people don't
bunch of
want
punks.
to, yeah, we don't want to accept that. And so what that means is that we're more willing to allow people to create these false narratives. Just do whatever you want to do, and you don't have to give an account for your behavior. And I tell people all the time, I don't have to embrace your dysfunction. Okay, I'm not forced to embrace your dysfunction, and if I call you toxic, it's because somehow, some way, you are damaging me, and you're damaging my emotions. You're damaging my psyche. I don't want to wrestle with you. I don't want to fight with you. And one of the things that we have to also understand, and I'll say this real quick, is some people enjoy toxicity. They just do.
It's normal for them.
It's normal.
It's normal.
And so when you pull them out of that, they feel out of place.
Glenn and Robert, give me something really quick so I can give Kevin this last question and we can get out of here on the toxic thing.
I think people like gaslighting you about their situation.
Yeah.
It's never their fault.
Yeah.
It is never their fault. It's like somebody used to joke Charles Barkley. They're like, Charles Barkley never committed a foul, if you ask him.
Right. Indeed.
Yeah,
Indeed.
ask him, he ain't never committed a foul. He could have
Right.
tackled somebody going to the goal, but it
Broke
wasn't
people's
him.
noses, but he ain't done nothing.
But he ain't
Robert,
done
Clearly,
really quick. Robert, give me something
real quick. People have broken their mirrors in their homes, in their situations, so that they don't want to see themselves.
Well,
That's
that
really
might
what
be
it
the
is.
heaviest thing you've said since
Wow.
you've been on this show.
Boy,
House full
you
of
drink
broken
tonight,
mirrors.
didn't you?
I'm going to use that.
Look, Reverend, I knew you was already stealing it.
Oh, man, I got to have that one, Robert. And I'm going to mention you the first time.
Hey, the first time, but after that, it's yours. And you're lucky he was here on the
it's
night he
mine
didn't
after
drink, Kevin. That's the only reason you got it, because he was
Yeah, you
sober.
got something good
Okay.
from it. He's sober.
Hey, Kevin, and this is how we're going to end the show. Pastor, I
Yes,
want to
sir.
pose this question to you. I want you to give me as concise an answer as you can,
Sure.
given the time. The word says your gifts will make room for you. What does the gifted person do when they are pursuing their gifts and the gifts have not yet begun to reap them benefit? How do they keep their passion? How do they maintain the gift? As much as you can understand, because I'm being pressed for time in terms of me
Sure.
asking the question, how would you answer that? What do you do until the gift starts making room?
Consistency is always important. I tell people, never stop. Samuel Jackson didn't get his big break until he was in his 40s. you know, and now here he is, the biggest, most highest grossing actor in Hollywood. You know, I can even look at my own life. You could not have told me, you know, I've been preaching now going on 26 years. You could not have told me even 10 years ago that I would be a presider over a group of churches, right? Even though this was something that was spoken over my life many years ago. But I think that consistency and integrity to who you are will eventually pay off. It may not pay off in the time frame that you desire, but it will pay off if you stay consistent with it.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's the Right Reverend, our good friend, our beloved friend, the Pastor Kevin Whitaker, dropping some knowledge on you. It has been The Cave, guys. I love you. Mel, we miss you. Everybody watching, thank you so much for supporting us. And we'll see you next Thursday. We got to get out of here. It's been one.
Yeah. Once again, here we go. Know the name, know the flow. Turn me up a little more. I'm setting traps, I'm alone. You know you whack, I'm a maniac. Boy, you know I'm black to the bone. Pick a place, pick a date. I go cool, pick a load. Fire in my soul, got my eyes on the ground. I can't help myself lately, can't turn myself down. I'm in love with you, baby, but I let you down. I can't die in this town, I won't die in this town. Yeah. Hey, don't die in this town. Yeah, get 'em up. I won't die in this town. Die in this town.